suffer, suffer, suffer. And if Samson, you're listening, suffer, 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 suffer. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Dave Palumbo here with an RX Muscle news update. 2 major IFBB Open Pro shows took place this past weekend, and we got some results in. A lot of you may have heard. I'm going to do a little bit of my own wrap up and what I thought went down. First of all, at the Tsunami Pro over there in Europe, Samson Dauda threw his hat into this ring. Some people thought it was a good idea. Some people thought it was a bad idea. I knew Samson was going to walk through this show. I thought it was a great idea that Samson do this event. He's got the Olympia coming up in 2 weeks, and you know what? Why not? If the guy's in shape, do it. Collect some money, get the nerves out, let the judges give him an idea of what they think of his physique so that he can tweak things going into the Olympia. It's always a bad idea to not kind of know what the feedback is on your physique. Nothing better than getting on the stage, getting some of those nerves out, letting the judges look at you, take a look at what they feel you've made improvements in, what they might like to see tighter, whether they want to see you fuller. This was a good dry run for Samson. He's huge. There's no one that touches him on this stage. I'm going to tell you what I think about his conditioning in a minute. But you know, Andrea Presti, obviously in this lineup, comes in second, beats Theo Leguerre, who is going to the Olympia, who has to settle for third here. Both guys in tremendous condition. Can't touch Samson. Samson's in a league by himself. He's a top 5 Olympian, and now you can see why when you see how he looks standing next to these guys. This is a big, big, round man. When he stands next to these other bodybuilders that we've been seeing competing over the last couple of weeks trying to get their Olympia qualifications, and I got to tell you, I feel really bad that Andrea Presti is not going to the Olympia. This guy has got more seconds and thirds, and he just missed so many times, and he put his hat into the ring. That's the only drawback when you don't have like a point system or you don't have a top 3 qualifications system to get to the Olympia. You have to win a show, and a guy like him he did everything he could possibly do, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't snag that win. There was just someone there who beat him every time, and by small margins in a lot of these shows. So my hat goes off to Andrea Presti, but we're talking about Samson Dauda. This show was all about Samson. It was about what we were going to see from him. It was a preview for the Olympia. I thought he looked good. I still think that his conditioning is not exactly where it needs to be. I would like, it's hard sometimes when you're watching on Instagram because people filter the pictures and they make him look a little more grainy than he probably was in person. But you can look at enough stuff there and see what he really looked like. I thought it was a good look. He looked a little, maybe not as full as he normally is, which gave him a little bit of a drier and harder look, especially from the front and side. He had it from the back too, but for some reason, I don't know if he doesn't have enough glute muscle back there, and that could be the problem that he's having with bringing in the striations in the glutes. I think that he just doesn't have enough muscle back there maybe, and I think he needs to put a little bit more mass on the glute muscle so that when he leans it out and dries it out, it just pops more, think Ronnie Coleman glutes, because Samson has muscle, but I think he's lacking a little bit in the glute area, and it looked a little bit almost like there was it was almost like a skin fold. It wasn't like there was fat there. It was just like it just wasn't the muscle wasn't popping, in the glute area. But his hamstrings looked good, and his lower back was decent. I don't think his conditioning was that much better than it was last year. It was better than what we saw at the Olympia last year, but it wasn't that much better. Now, the good thing about this is that he's got 2 weeks to suffer, suffer, suffer. And if Samson, you're listening, suffer, 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 suffer. Get that little last bit off. You don't have much to go. And I think if he can get that little last bit off, then he'll be able to fill himself out a little bit more without worrying about smoothing out that area in his lower back and glutes. See, what people don't realize is, and this is an important point, when you get crazy, nutty, shredded, think Dorian Yates, think Ronnie Coleman, you can then fill yourself up more with carbs and stuff like that without worrying about the areas that maybe weren't as lean as they should have looking bad, if that makes sense. In other words, if you still have a little bit of body fat, you almost have to go on the side, err on the side of less carbs, more dehydrated to really make that area look lean. But if you're wacky, inside out, shrunk wrap, shredded, you can fill out all the way. And that's what Samson needs. He needs to fill out so he's round, but you can't really do that if you're not completely shredded lean. So I think he probably has about 3 or 4 pounds left, maybe in his physique, he's so big, maybe 5 pounds, that he can take off and then fill up and come in with the look that we want. I think he's very close. I think this was a good move. Now he's going to get a lot of feedback from the show. I hope he doesn't take it in a negative way. I hope he takes it in a positive, constructive way, because this is going to help him be a better bodybuilder at the Olympia in a couple of weeks. And you know what? That's what it's all about. He's getting ready to win an Olympia. That's what his goal is. It's not to go there and place top 3 again. He wants to win. The way you do that is you put yourself out there, get some critique from people that you respect, listen to what they say, make those adjustments, whatever the judges and the people that you know that have a good eye in this industry can say, and then bring a better look to the stage at the Olympia. And you know what? Then we'll be saying that this show he did 2 weeks before was a genius move on his part, whereas other people are not getting that same feedback. So I think it was excellent. He made a few bucks for himself. I guess he requalified for next year. Not that it's going to matter. He'll probably do it at the Olympia anyway. But I think very, very smart move. Once again, poor Andrea Presti. If Samson didn't go there, he would have had a qualification for next year. But that's just the way it goes, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. Congratulations, Samson, on the big win. And then, of course, out at the IFBB Legion Sports Fest, we had another men's open event take place where Brett Wilkin qualifies for the Olympia and wins that event. And it was a very, very close battle between Bruno Santos from Brazil and Brett Wilkin, who we hadn't seen all year, who's been working to make the improvements that he needs. Yes, it won't be a qualification for this year's Olympia. It'll be for next year, but who cares? You know, he did it. It was a good victory. It was a close battle. These guys battled it out on that stage, you know, and the judges worked them. They were very evenly matched. I thought Brett had better conditioning. I thought his side leg was better. I like his back double bicep better. I thought his glutes and hamstrings were popping more. Bruno has a lot of mass on his body. He's a big dude. But, you know, there was some body parts I didn't really like. I thought his shoulders looked a little suspicious on certain shots. And I think we saw him harder when he won that show a few weeks ago. Now, Bruno will be going to the Olympia because he qualified in the right time frame. So he'll be at the Olympia. Brett will have to go next year. But I think that Brett brought what it took to win this show. Once again, more polish. He was better from the back. We always say shows can be won or lost from the back. These guys were pretty evenly matched every place else. From the back, I thought Brett cinched it, clinched it, and once again, glutes, hamstrings, lower back, very important. The only pose I didn't really like that Brett had was he's not opening up his rear lat spread enough. He's like kind of like still like clamping down on those scapulas. He's not opening them up. Bruno has a better rear lat spread than Brett does, but it wasn't a runaway, you know, for either one of them. It was a tough battle, and I don't think Bruno really cares. He was kind of just doing this also as another warm-up, trying to get another win, but he's obviously going to the Olympia, so he's focused on that, and I'm sure we'll see a great look from him. He really shocked a lot of people this year. He brought a great look in when he won his show a few weeks ago, and I'm glad he was there because it gave Brett a run for his money. But Brett has made some incredible improvements. I remember seeing him at the St. Louis Pro a few months earlier where he guest posed, and I don't even know if he had just started dieting, and he looked enormous. So he really made a lot of improvements from last year. He put a lot of size on. His quality is better. He's rounder. He's getting more muscle maturity, and I think we're going to see him do some great things in the bodybuilding world in the future. He's taking his time. He's not rushing. I think he's doing it the right way. And this was a great victory for him over there at the Legion Sports Fest. And that show keeps getting better and better every single year. And it's I think it's a show that people should consider using as an early qualifier for the 2020 or whatever the following season is going to be. It's not going to count, obviously, for 2024, but it'll count for 25. So smart move on Brett's part. Congratulations on the huge win. It was an exciting weekend in bodybuilding, but the Olympia is on its way, and we have our Iron Road to the Olympia. You're not going to want to miss all the Iron debates and all the prediction shows we'll be doing over the next couple of weeks. For now, though, we will cover the show more in depth on Heavy Muscle Radio tomorrow night with Chris Aceto and myself at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. For now, I'm Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle News Update.